Hi there, and thanks again for tuning into this week's edition of your Wheel and Anchor weekly newsletter. I was just reading the headlines back home and lamenting about how the whole situation with the third wave seems to have gone from bad to worse. And I couldn't help but to think how it is that here in Asia, countries seem to have coped a lot better with managing this pandemic, and in most cases with far less resources than we are blessed with in Canada. And I was thinking really about this attitude of the collective, how it's all about working together. I mean, let's face it, we're not all in the same boat, but we are certainly weathering the same storm. And in this day and age, in a time when working together and trusting each other and trusting those institutions that are trying to help us find our way out of it, if anything, there's been more and more distrust, perhaps because of the spread of misinformation, or just the fact that maybe our own politicians hardly seem believable anymore. But there is no more important time to work together and to think about each other as we get through this next wave. And mask wearing is one example. And I was also reading the Bangkok Post today, and of course we have here as well a mini third wave in Thailand, and the country is mourning its 94th fatality since the beginning of the pandemic. I mean, not a laughing matter by any stretch, but if we compare that to what's going on at home, and as I say, in terms of the collective, mask wearing here is something that's just done. Nobody asks you to do it. I mean, yeah, sure, the government asks you and encourages you to do it. But the whole notion here, since long before COVID came along, is that I wear a mask to protect you and you wear a mask to protect me. And that's just how things are done. And I think that kind of attitude is really what has contributed to the success of Thailand and other places in managing through this whole situation. Let's face it, in the end of the day, the human experience is both a personal one and a collective one. And sometimes it requires us to subjugate our own priorities, our own personal interests for the benefit of the collective. And now is probably a time for us all to do that. And certainly that's not an easy ask of one another when the frustration is run so deep as this thing seems to progress along. But at the same time, it does seem like that's perhaps the best strategy. And certainly if Asia is a model to be looked at, they've certainly done a good job. Just on another note, this past week, of course, we had our webinar about the gardens of England and France, featuring the Chelsea Flower Show. We'll be heading there in May of next year. Would love to welcome you on that trip. And you can find a replay of that webinar, of course, in the blog below. Coming up next week, we're going to be talking about our rescheduled Sicily, Malta, and the Aeolian Islands program. That is a yacht cruise we're going to be taking out of Naples, Italy, via Sicily and the beautiful Aeolian Islands in the Mediterranean, ending up in Malta. We're going to be talking about that next Thursday. And then the following week, we're going to be reintroducing our Fjords of Norway program. Again, we were supposed to be heading there this time this year, but we're going to be heading there, of course, next year, and we'll be talking about that on April the 22nd at our usual time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I look forward to catching you at our upcoming webinars if I haven't seen you, and take care of yourselves. I'm sure that this will all pass too, and as I keep saying over and over, we'll be back to traveling again before you know it.